Some of the feedback that we've had from some of our SENCOs about continuing with professional development, including the National Award, is that of time, perhaps professional development drawing them away from their duties in school. Some of them are head teachers themselves and therefore find the pressure of time on their role as head teacher, role as SENCO, and then time to undertake further professional development a real challenge. I wondered what you had to say about that.
Time has always been an issue, more so for those SENCOs who are working in classrooms. And I think that if we can look at programmes that are looking at classroom practice, are looking at action research, are looking at things they can actually do as part of their day-to-day job, and not looking at, you know, sort of academic study that maybe is not quite as connected, or they can't see the connection maybe. But I just think that, you know, where you have teachers who are dedicated to the cause, they will find time. I think that's just something that has always happened, that, you know, those that really want to do it will find the time to do it because they believe it's right. In terms of head teachers, I think we have a long way to go to try and ensure that the leaders in our schools understand just how important the role of the SENCO is. In legal terms, we only have to have 2 members of staff in a school. One is the head teacher, one is the SENCO. That is how important that role is. You know, and you can't imagine a school running without a head teacher. So, you know, I personally can't imagine a school running without a SENCO. I know where you've got small schools with maybe very low numbers of children, we need to maybe think about area SENCOs or another way of working in that way. But, you know, many of our inner city and urban schools, we have large numbers of children with special needs. And, you know, that is a big job for one person to try and ensure that the teaching, the learning, excuse me, the teaching, the learning, the progress, the use of the teaching assistants is all happening on a day-to-day basis. So we need to engage with leaders to try and upskill them in terms of what the role of this person is as well.
And finally, we'd like to ask you, Lorraine, from your national perspective, whether you have a view about the value and impact of the National Award for SEN Coordination. Some head teachers have questioned its usefulness, saying that they would prefer their SENCOs to be more focused on work within the school rather than training and academic learning. And it would be really useful to have a wider perspective on this development.
As we've come to the end of the sort of first year of the first cohort going through, the evidence I've gathered from talking to SENCOs has been incredibly positive. Many of them have seen a difference in their practice in school. Some of them have actually changed opinions in school, which is fantastic. You know, we haven't got the evidence yet of its improved outcomes for children, but there's work going on looking at that. And I think it is going to take time to build up that sort of real bank of evidence. But I really do think that, you know, in the long run, having a highly experienced and highly qualified SENCO in every mainstream school in England will make a huge difference to the provision we can offer to children. And in the long run, I actually think it will save us money, because I think the SENCO, if they're doing the job that we really want them to be doing, can actually be looking very closely at what are we doing in this school, and is it the best for the children, and is there a better way of doing things. So I do think that in the long run it will be beneficial. I can understand that at the moment it maybe is sort of still early days yet, but the evidence that I'm gathering from those students that have been through it is very, very positive. And I think the biggest positive sort of outcome that I've seen so far is SENCOs who had never met before, either through because they were in the same local authority or they never went to a particular meeting or whatever, are now meeting together and forming their own groups of sort of cluster SENCOs, or, you know, and being able to share good practice and looking for answers. And we are developing, you know, a sort of genre of SENCOs who aren't frightened to go and ask, but actually are building up networks of other professionals they can go to seek advice and support.
Thank you very much. And finally, would you want to give any general words of encouragement to any SENCOs who are interacting with this at the moment.
Well, as a SENCO in a previous life in many different schools, I always thought it was the best job in the world, and I still do. I think that the rewards far outweigh the issues. And yes, I know I would have struggled doing a master's level qualification along with being a newly appointed SENCO. But I do feel that, you know, the SENCO can make the biggest difference in any school for, you know, a whole group of children. And when you see just one child making a significant progress because of something that you as the SENCO have introduced, or you as the SENCO have trained your teachers to be able to do, then that is what makes it all worthwhile. So we mustn't forget that.
Lorraine, we'd really like to thank you for coming here today, to giving up your time to come and talk to our SENCOs. We worked out this morning that we've got just over 350 SENCOs who either started on or are about to start on the National Award with us at Best Practice Network, and I know that they will find your responses to those questions really valuable. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.